materials supplied to them in real-life situations, or to interpret the results of the experiments that they had carried out and create meaning connected to everyday situations. Mama, the emphasis in this curriculum is application of knowledge and skills to problem solve or to solve problems in our everyday life. Candidates that appear not to have been guided properly tried to use the old method of recalling facts to respond to these scenarios. In English and other foreign languages, the challenges that were observed have been inadequate vocabulary, inability to paraphrase or using your own words without having to copy directly from a given text when you are writing a summary, or using inappropriate examples in the comprehension texts or literature analysis. The reports, however, indicate that in those languages where speaking was part of the assessment, candidates demonstrated a fair understanding of the given scenarios and responded well. The challenge that cuts across all areas is the difficulty that candidates showed in linking scenarios to problem solving in real-life situations. This competency, as I have said, is at the core of the curriculum and implies that teachers need to do much more to guide the learners towards this focus. Mama, in section 4, I report the achievement levels of male and female candidates. The table below compares achievement levels of the male and female candidates in the large and compulsory subjects in terms of cumulative percentages. You can see I've reproduced the same subjects, and this time we are disaggregating the achievement levels between males and females at A, B, C, D, and E. And we can see, for example, at English language, 2.2% of the males are exceptional, while the percentage for female is 3.2. At B, which is cumulative, the males are for 16.4%, while 22.7% are females. And that goes on across and down the table. What the table shows is that the female candidates demonstrated higher achievement levels in English language. This, Mama, has been the same in even the old curriculum and at all other levels. The females constantly do better than the males in English. And then Christian religious education, which is a good thing, Mama. The females are, I think, a little more religious and kinder than the males. So it's not surprising that their achievement levels here is much better. And then art and design. Again, I think this is an area where female touch is definitely much better than that of the males. In the other subjects, history and political education, geography, mathematics, agriculture, chemistry, and biology, the proportions of females in the exceptional and outstanding levels are lower than that of the females. But interestingly, Mama, when you look at the column E, those that are elementary, you will see that the percentage of females that are elementary are lower. All along, from English, where they are only 2.6 compared to 4.7. In Christian religious education, 0.5 compared to 1.1, and so on. They are lower than the males all along. Mama, the achievements of special groups is also reported. Our prison inmates at Luzira 28 candidates were registered and 1 candidate was absent, and all these 27 candidates, Mama, qualified for the award of the UCE certificate. Similarly, at Mbarara Main Prison's Inmate Secondary School, the 11 candidates who were registered all sat, and all of them also qualified for the award of the UCE certificate. Special needs candidates, their performance is shown in Table 4. The achievement levels, we show the special needs type. The results, we are now, this time we are showing those that qualified as result 1, and then those that do not qualify, result 2 and 3, and then those who sat and the total. And the table shows there that 703 or 95.3% of the candidates qualified for the award of the UCE certificates, while that 35 or 4.7% candidates did not qualify. Worth noting here is that all the candidates in the deaf category qualified for the UCE certificate. This is unlike the past, where when they appeared to be very disadvantaged because of their disabilities. We believe the reason for this is that the continuous assessment being part of the final achievement grades, the competencies of the blind can be demonstrated at the school level, and they are assessed and recognized and reported, unlike under the old curriculum where all we depended on was the end of cycle examination. Section 6, Mama, I report on feedback from candidates. UNEB conducted a survey with the first cohort of candidates to find out their perceptions of the examination papers that they had just sat. The intention of this feedback was to gain some information from the candidates that may inform future improvements. This being the first cohort, the first examination, there are areas definitely that may have to be looked at, and this was the reason why we wanted to find out from the candidates who had just done the examination what is it that they felt about the papers. A total of 50,631 candidates drawn from all the districts took part in this survey. Of these, 25,716 or 50.1% were males, while the other 49.2% were females. The candidates gave us a feedback on the 53 examination papers. They completed a brief questionnaire shortly after completing the exam papers. The key quality aspects of the examination papers and their responses are summarized in Table 5. These key quality aspects were whether they thought the examination items were from the syllabus that they had covered, whether they felt that the time that was allocated to them was adequate, whether they found the items were clear to understand, and what their overall view of the examination papers were. So, Mama, the results indicate that 94.6% of our candidates found that the items they went through were from the syllabus that they had covered. Only 4.1% did not agree, and 1.3% did not offer any opinion. 67.4% of the candidates indicated that they had enough time, while 30.8% thought that the time allocated to them was not enough. 1.8% did not respond. 83.2% found the items clear, while 15.5% thought they did not understand the items very well. In their response to the overall view of the examination papers, Mama, 5% said the exams were very easy. 60.1% said the exams were fair. 31.9% found the examination difficult, and 3% did not respond. Mama, it should be noted that UNEB developed and administered pre-test papers as part of its preparations to assess candidates under the competency-based curriculum, which papers were scored and analyzed to arrive at those key quality findings. The final paper formats used in the end of cycle were based on the results of the pre-tests. The results of the survey, whereas it is not very surprising given the challenges that schools faced, but overall they indicate to a very good extent that great strides of implementation of the competency-based curriculum assessment was achieved. Examination malpractice, section 7. Mama, there has been a very welcome reduction in the cases of malpractice. There are 64 cases with a total of 984 candidates who are suspected. This compares to nearly 3,000 in the previous curriculum. The nature of the items in the papers do not seem to lend themselves very easily to malpractice. However, the cases that are reported are mostly in the science practical papers, with physics being most affected. Of the cases that were reported, 883 or 93.1% are in the sciences, and only a small percentage in the rest of the other subjects. In these science cases, there is overwhelming evidence that candidates were given experimental results that teachers had done and they were merely copying, and the work that they were showing in their papers did not relate to the results that they themselves had recorded. Our gratitude, Mama. Mama, in Romans chapter 8, verse 13, the scripture says, "In view of all this, what can we say? If God is for us, who can be against us?" Indeed, Mama, when all is said and done, we acknowledge that God has been for us in this journey to deliver the ultimate product in the implementation of the new curriculum. By His providence and unfailing faithfulness, whatever obstacles were against us were overcome. Whatever weapon formed against us did not prosper, as Isaiah 54:17 says. Mama, you prayed for us and you supported us all the time. We are grateful. I thank the chairperson, Professor Celestine Obua, and members of the board for the prompt decisions that they make on matters that we refer to them as management, and the guidance that we get. I'm very grateful, Mama, to our colleagues at the National Curriculum Development Center and the Directorate of Education Standards for their cooperation and the support that they rendered in these efforts. I applaud and praise my technical team at UNEB for the meticulous work leading to the advent of the first cohort of UCE results under this curriculum. Mama, for the last 2 years, they have given everything, time, intellect, innovation, and energy to ensure the success of this curriculum. We weathered all sorts of inquiries from all corners, concerns from anxious members of the public and our schools, and doubting Thomases wondering whether this examination will ever see the light of day. Mama, here we are. At some point, we were like the cook in the kitchen, where the diners, everybody is looking in to ask, what kind of food is coming out of this kitchen? Is there enough salt? Is there matoke and ugali and all that? But we have served And I think, Mama, what we have brought is a buffet where there is something in it for everyone. I'm grateful to the chairperson and members of the Committee on Education and Sports, represented here, Mama, by Honorable James Kubekateria, the chair, Jane Okoremo, Honorable, and Honorable Nathan Itungo, who are here. They have done their best, Mama, to support the board in its quest for the appropriate funding in order to effectively deliver this curriculum and also deliver in its mandate. I'm grateful to the security agencies which assisted the board during the monitoring of the field conduct of the exam, the area supervisors, heads of examination centers, scouts, invigilators. All these did a great job during the conduct of the examination as required by the stipulated board regulations. Mama, I'm grateful to the scorers who handled the candidate scripts and completed in time, apart from those other hitches that we have talked about, in order for other processes to take place, culminating in the release of the results. I also thank the heads of schools that allowed us to use their premises as marking centers. Finally, Mama, I also congratulate all the candidates who have qualified for the UCE certificate, the teachers who guided their learning, and the parents and the guardians who provided for and supported them. Collection of results. As I said, for the transition examination, these results are going to be loaded on the portals and schools can download them, and anyone who is interested can use the SMS service. Mama, we have issued 2 results. The index numbers for the transition exam, if a person wants to access results for the transition exam, the index number has to have the letter T at the end. For example, you'd put in U000 whatever stroke 001T. If you do not put the T, it will not give you the results that you'd want. I also urge the examination centers to send us any queries on the results within a period of 21 working days so that we can attend to. In conclusion, Mama, I pray that God blesses His Excellency the President as he leads and guides this nation towards prosperity. And Mama, may God bless you as you support His Excellency the President and as you guide the Ministry of Education and Sports. May God bless the Uganda National Examinations Board. May God bless our Parliament, and may God bless our motherland, Uganda. Mama, thank you very much for your kind attention. I'm yours faithfully. We have prepared a small brochure, a fact sheet, which explains quite a bit in very, very good summary about the assessment of the competency-based curriculum. I think all the members who are here will have a copy and will make this available to the public. Thank you very much, Mama.
A big round of applause to UNEB, and a very big one to Mama, our team leader, and the rock on which we all anchor ourselves. Thank you very much for leading this sector very well. Apoyo Matek, Won Rudy, Apoyo Matek, Min Rudy, UNEB. Precisely, I'm saying thank you very much, Nalongo, thank you very much, Salongo, UNEB. At this moment in time, I would like to request the chairperson and the ED UNEB, accompanied by the ministers, the PS, and the honorable members of parliament, to present the results book to Mama. Asante sana. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. May I have the honor of inviting Dr. Jesse Muyingo, the Minister of State for Higher Education, to give some brief remarks, and thereafter invite Mama to address the nation and officially release the results.
Thank you very much, David. Mama, our team leader, the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, my colleagues, the Honorable Ministers of State for Education and Sports, the Honorable Chairperson and members of the Education and Sports Committee of Parliament, the Permanent Secretary and the staff of the Ministry, the Executive Director and the staff of Ghana National Examination Board, the Executive Director, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Mama, today we are here for yet another exciting moment where we are making history in our quest to provide quality education. The release of the results of the first cohort of candidates who sat examinations under the new lower secondary school curriculum is one of the best things that has happened this year. Mama, when you rolled out this curriculum in 2020, there was a lot of uncertainty and many people wondered how it would be managed and assessed. But with God it is done. And today we celebrate a great achievement of a new curriculum successfully implemented and assessed. I am thrilled to report that the implementation of this curriculum has created a paradigm shift in the way our learners are guided through school. There has been a complete change from a content-based curriculum to one that enables our learners to acquire not the ability to recall facts as it has been, but to have competences that enable them to be creative and solve problems in real life. Mama, I thank you for your vision and strong leadership that has enabled us as a sector to come this far. Despite the initial challenges that affected the rollout of the new lower secondary curriculum, such as COVID-19 pandemic, you remained steadfast. And indeed, we are here to reap the fruits of your determination
to change the status quo and lead to a transformation. I want to thank the National Curriculum Development Center for the great work they did to ensure the curriculum was possible to implement and assess. Curriculum Development Center, thank you so much for the innovative ways you employed to ensure as many teachers as possible are trained to implement the curriculum, and we remain ever grateful for the sacrifices you made to ensure we are all successful. This is now the new breed of learners with the skills we have been yearning for. I thank UNEP for the corresponding innovations in assessment, and we cannot get tired of recognizing the excellency with which UNEP does its work. UNEP, thank you so much. We are grateful to the board for being very professional in whatever you do, and for always doing well what they are supposed to do. We thank you, Chairperson, Executive Director, and your team for a job well done. Thank you very much once again. And a hand clap for UNEP with a special way, dearly. This has not been very easy. Another hand clap for the Ministry of Education and Sport. Our permanent secretary and her technical team, congratulations and thank you very much. My colleagues, the ministers of state, I know you have been pushing from different angles. You've been monitoring, supervising. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Mama, with your permission, it's now my honor to invite you to address the nation and release the UCE examination results for 2024, where the whole country has been eagerly waiting for. Thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you, Honorable Myengo. Please sit down. My colleagues, Honorable Ministers of State, present here or today, the Chairperson and members of the Education and Sports Committee of Parliament, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education and Sports, and your team, the Chairperson and members of the Board, UNEB, the Executive Director, UNEB, and your team, the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I must thank God so much today for this day that He has made. We have every reason to rejoice and be glad in it, as UNEB presents to us yet again results of 2 examinations done concurrently. I really thank the Chairperson and the Board of UNEB, the Executive Director and his team at the UNEB Secretariat for a very good job done. Yes, please give them a very loud clap. I recall that last year I released the UCE examination results on the 15th of February 2024. This time, we are ready to release today, on the 11th of February 2025. That we are a few days earlier must have meant a lot of dedication and hard work. I say again, thank you, UNEB, so much. Now, talking about hard work, it was reassuring to hear that even in this time of hectic business of developing the structures and processes for managing the continuous assessment and end-of-cycle examination under the new lower secondary curriculum, UNEB was also working on attaining of certification from the International Organization for Standardization, as you heard the chair of UNEB explain to us, for ISO 9001:2015 standard for quality management system. This should give further assurance to the public that UNEB is committed to observance of quality processes in executing its mandate. Yes, as we release the results for 2024 UCE candidates, we have candidates that sat examination of the new lower secondary curriculum, and the last cohort, as you heard, of candidates who sat UCE under the old lower secondary curriculum. That was a lot of work in this past year. The latter are the learners who had missed the 2023 UCE examination for various reasons, or those who had not made it and wanted to repeat the examination. This opportunity was provided, as you heard my colleagues explain. It was provided so that such learners were not disadvantaged. I am glad that as a ministry, we thought through this, and UNEB presented a proposal for a one-off UCE examination in 2024 for learners who had been using the previous lower secondary curriculum. So we thank God that we have the results to release today for the last UCE examination of the old lower secondary curriculum, as you heard. So ask the selection committee now to ensure that the 2024 cohort of candidates who took the UCE examination under the old curriculum and qualify for post-UCE placement, that they will not be left out, by God's grace. For those learners who yet again did not avail themselves this last opportunity at UCE examination under the previous lower secondary curriculum, I encourage them to look out for other opportunities of progression in education and training through the vocational pathway. You do not have to drop out of formal education at all. You can try again through this other pathway. So we praise God in a special way now that we are finally releasing the results of the first cohort of candidates under the new lower secondary curriculum. As I said earlier, this curriculum was rolled out in 2020. As you all know, the start was not smooth, as occasioned among other disruptions by COVID-19 pandemic. Indeed, many people thought that this curriculum was something that government would soon drop. This perhaps explains why we kept getting reports that many schools were stuck in teaching the old curriculum. However, we remained steadfast in implementing the new lower secondary curriculum despite those hiccups, because the curriculum was designed to develop competencies in all the areas of learning. It was the best for our country and our plans for the future, using the head, the hands, and the heart. Learners who have gone through this curriculum have the ability for self-learning, as you heard from all the colleagues who spoke before me. I'm glad to hear from the Executive Director, UNEB, that, for instance, in science practical work candidates use a scenario and materials provided and plan their own investigations using the science process skills. The assessment tasks are geared towards solving problems in the real world. These are the citizens the country needs to be coming out of our education system now. They will contribute greatly to the realization of our national vision, which focuses on transformation from peasantry to modern and prosperous Uganda. To effectively assess competence-based learning, achievement of the learners was assessed at school level, and the continuous assessment scores, which now form part of the overall learners' UCE examination grade. This has reduced the impact of just a one-shot end of cycle examination. Combination of continuous assessment and end of cycle scores gives a holistic picture of the learner's achievement. We have seen it in the Executive Director's report, exemplified by the deaf candidates whose performance has significantly improved. I call on the professionalism of the teachers to ensure the integrity of the continuous assessment scores submitted to UNEB. This is very important because that's how we get the whole learning of any one of the students of the work they do throughout the year. Validity and reliability must be observed in generating these continuous assessment scores so that they reflect the true levels of achievement by the learner. I ask UNEB, within the resources available, to institute a robust training, monitoring, and evaluation system to ensure that schools comply with the guidelines issued on continuous assessment and project work assessment. I thank the National Curriculum Development Center for the hard work in putting the new lower secondary competence-based curriculum in place. I also want to thank the parents that provided input from a parent's perspective during the review of the final draft of the new lower secondary curriculum. Maybe we don't thank the parents enough, but we must remember that they also have a role, and we don't forget to thank them. I call on the country to accept this change, which is for the better. I know that we have for a long time been used to aggregates and divisions, as you heard Mr. Odong say, leading to ranking of schools. This was always a source of very unethical practice by many schools to survive in the unhealthy competitions that had developed. Therefore, I'm happy to see that the NCDC and UNEB have now come up with a new approach that eliminates ranking candidates by divisions attained. Relatedly, I have also learned that the Office of Personal Data Protection has drawn UNEB to the provisions within the Data Protection and Privacy Act, Cap 97, that prohibits the publication of personal data of children. As such, UNEB has been informed by the Personal Data Protection Office, in quotes, that publicly disclosing the names, photographs, and individual grades of learners on boards or other publicly accessible platforms exposes such learners to harassment, stigma, and emotional distress. Accordingly, schools are advised now to use alternative methods of sharing examination outcomes without compromising student privacy by way of disclosing personal learner information or data. Therefore, I now task UNEB and all the other examination and assessment agencies under the Ministry of Education and Sports, together with the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Education and Sports, to liaise with the Data Protection and Privacy Office for further appreciation of this guidance on how to fully comply with the Data Protection and Privacy Act and its regulations in the management of assessment and examination results. Thereafter, the Permanent Secretary shall formally communicate to all education institutions of learning by way of a circular on how to always ensure privacy of individual learners' results. For now, in keeping with the Data Protection and Privacy Act, Cap 97, and its regulations, schools and institutions of learning should desist from all forms of public display of individual learner academic results. And that said, I must send hearty congratulations to our learners who have had their places sealed in history as the first cohort to sit for the UCE examinations under the new lower secondary curriculum. That is competence-based and have qualified for the award of the certificate. I thank the teachers who guided them through the learner-centered teaching approach which this curriculum requires. I thank the parents again and guardians who supported the learners, especially in the project work. And once again, I thank UNEP Board, Secretariat, and all the people who participated in the assessment and scoring process of the 2024 USE examination. Lastly, I wish to inform all schools and the general public that the selection dates for the Senior 5 class of 2025 are the 20th to 21st Feb 2025. The first term reporting date for the Senior 5 class of 2025 is Monday, the 3rd March 2025. It is now my singular honor to release the 2024 USE results for both the last cohort of examinations under the previous lower secondary curriculum and the pioneer class under the new lower secondary curriculum. I thank you and God bless you. Thank you, Ministry of Education, UNEB, committee in Parliament, everybody related to this work. I thank you and God bless you.
Mama, with your permission, may I request that we resume our seats for a few minutes to receive a summary of your address in Luganda. And due to popular demand, I've been requested not to change the winning team. May I now invite Dr. Mugenyi to come and give the summary.
Neyanziza nnyo maama kumpeereza omukisa guno kubanga njogerako eri eggwanga nga mbannyonnyola ebivudde mu bibuuzo eby'essiniya ey'okuna ey'omwaka guno. Mu sipiiki ya maama yeebazizza Katonda olw'olunaku luno lwafulumizzaako ebibuuzo eby'essiniya y'okuna, n'ayeebaza ekitongole kya UNEB naddala executive director ne ttiimu ye. Ategeezezza eggwanga nti mwaka oguwedde ebibuuzo bya siniya y'okuna byafuluma nga 15 February, naye mwaka guno bifulumye nga 11 February 2025, ekitegeeza nti UNEB ekoze bulungi okulaba nti ebibuuzo bifuluma mu budde. UNEB weebale nnyo, weebalire ddala. Ategeezezza eggwanga nti ekitongole kya UNEB kigezaako okulaba nti ebibuuzo bino bituukana n'omutindo si gwa Uganda yokka nayo ogw'ensi yonna. Mu mwaka guno tukoze ebibuuzo emirundi 2. Abaana abataayita obulungi n'abo abataasobola okukola ebibuuzo by'omwaka gw'2023 baaweebwa omukisa okubiddamu, ate ne kalikulamu empya eyatongozebwa mu mwaka gw'2022 nabo ne batuula ebibuuzo. Musanyufu okulaba nti abaana bonna baaweebwa omukisa era basobodde okutuula ebibuuzo bino. N'asaba akakiiko selection committee okulaba nti abaana bonna abaatuula ebibuuzo ebya transition exams n'abaatudde ebya new lower competence based curriculum waweebwa omukisa okulaba nti beeyongerayo mu misomo gyabwe. Awadde amagezi nti abo abatasobodde okukola obulungi abadde mu bibuuzo by'omwaka gw'2023 banoonye emikisa emirala gavumenti yateekako okulaba nti beeyongerayo mu kusoma nga mu masomo g'ebyemikono n'ebirala ebiri mu ggwanga lino. Akinoganyiza nti kalikulamu eno empya yafulumizza ebibuuzo ebisoose yafunamu ebizibu. Twalina ekizibu kya COVID-19 era abantu abamu ne balowooza nti kalikulamu weewaawo eyinza obutakola bulungi. Naye akinoganyizza nti kalikulamu eno empya kyekintu ekirungi ekisoose okufunibwa nnyo mu ggwanga lino, kubanga kiyamba nnyo abayizi okulaba nti beeyambisa emitwe gyabwe, emitima gyabwe n'emikono gyabwe, ekibayamba nti nabo bokka bayinza okweyamba ne basobola okusoma bulungi. Ate mu pulojekiti naddala eza science bafuna omukisa okulaba nti amagezi ge basomye mu bitabo n'omu bibiina bagateeka mu nkola. Enkola eno era ye gavumenti yeeteese nnyo essira okulaba nti bwe tuba nga tukulembeza okusoma kwa science kijja kuyamba eggwanga lino okuva mu bwavu lifuuke eggwanga eryeyagaza ate ery'omulembe. Yategezezza eggwanga nti UNEB yakyusa engeri gyekolamu assessment, kubanga abasomesa bebasomesa abaana ne baweereza makisi, ate ne be UNEB byeweereza abaana end of cycle exams, byonna bigaatibwa wamu ne tufuna ekifaananyi ekirungi okulaba biki omwana byayize mu bibiina okuva mu senior 1 okutuuka ku yokuna, ate na bino byakoze nga amaliriza omwaka ogwokuna ne babigatta wamu, n'olwekyo n'ofuna ekifaananyi ekirungi ekiraga okusoma kw'omwana n'obukugu bwe. Tutegeezezza nti kino kiyambye nnyo naddala abaana abafu b'amaaso okulaba nti mu bibuuzo by'omwaka guno bakoze bulungi. Asabye abasomesa okulaga obukugu nga bagolola abaana nga baweereza makisi, kirage nti obukugu bwabwe n'okumanya kwabwe bukulu nnyo mu mulimu gwabwe Mukama gwe yabawa okukola. Asabye amasomero gonna okulaba nti gagoberera guidelines eza UNEB zeeweereza nga bagolola abaana naddala mu bibiina ekibayita continuous assessment. Yeebazizza nnyo abazadde olw'ebirowoozo byabwe baateekayo nga tukyusa curriculum okulaba n'okutegeera nti kati abaana engeri gye basomamu yakyuse, titukyayogera ku abayise mu grade esooka, ey'okubiri, ey'okusatu n'abaagodde, kaakati twogerera mu lulimi lw'obukugu bwabwe. Awabudde UNEB n'awabula n'amasomero gonna nti waliwo etteeka eppya, Data Protection and Privacy Act, eritakkiriza okulaga ekifaananyi ky'omwana n'obubonero bw'aba afunye mu bigezo bino, kubanga ekyo kityoboola eddembe lye. N'asaba omuwandiisi w'enkalakkalira owa Minisitule y'Enjigiriza n'Emizannyo nti mu budde obutali bwawala ajja kuba afulumya saccula esobole okutegeeza eggwanga lino engeri entuufu gye balinamu okukola ebintu bino. Musanyufu nnyo okulaba nti abaana abakoze ebibuuzo ebya lower secondary school curriculum empya kaakati bafunye ekifo mu byafaayo by'eggwanga lino nti be basoose okutuula ebibuuzo bino ebipya mu curriculum empya. Ng'amaliriza yeebazizza nnyo bonna abakoze okulaba nti ebibuuzo bino bifuluma bulungi, naddala abasomesa, naddala nnyo mu kintu kya project work baateekamu obudde n'amagezi, abazadde, UNEB, ministry n'ebitongole byonna eby'eddembe. Ategeezezza eggwanga nti okulonda abaana abagenda kweyongerayo misomo gyabwe kujja kubeerayo 2021 omwezi gwa February, ate taamu esooka ey'abaana ba siniya y'okutaano ejja kutandika nga 3 March. Mwebale nnyo bassebo ne bannyabo, Mukama bawe omukisa.
I think we all agree he has done a very good job. You, Dr. Mugenyi, you earn yourself a D. Okay. They have said you've done a good job and you earn yourself an A. May we all rise up for the anthems. Two announcements. We shall have one photo of Mama and the media team. It's a special request from the media team. And thereafter, we shall have a press conference in the